Hello and welcome to Pixel Perspective Podcast. I'm Adrian, along with my good buddy JJ. How you doing, JJ?
I'm doing wonderful. How are you?
Man, couldn't be better. Nice and cool in my house. I haven't had AC in like 2 weeks.
Oof.
And yeah, I'm living it up. And our AC, it's like 69, 70 degrees in here right now. It hasn't been that cool ever. Like ever. So I'm pumped, to say the least.
Solid. Yeah, it's hot out here too, and I put my if I was living alone, I would normally have my thermometer at like 68, 69 because I love cold. But unfortunately, not unfortunately, I have Locke, my cat, and I don't want him to freeze to death, so I keep it at 71, which is a little warm for me, but at the same time, like not unbearable. And I've got fans, so it's all right. And the only problem is like my room, which is where I'm in right now, gets way hotter than everywhere else in my place. My
Don't
downstairs,
you hate
that? Yeah, my living room downstairs and the basement stay so cool, and up here, oh my god, it's brutally hot.
Ugh. Yeah, it's the same way in my back bedroom and my bathroom. I was telling you before the show, those two rooms are always either too hot or too cold. So now with the new unit, everything's good. It's actually the same temperature back there as it is in the rest of the house. I love it. Couldn't be happier. My wallet doesn't like it very much, but that comes with the territory of owning a house, I suppose.
Yeah. Hopefully you want to do it again for a long time now.
That's the plan. So what have you been up to, man? What you been playing more is what I should say.
Metopia, like crazy.
Oh yeah.
I love it. I don't remember being able to do this in the 3DS version. Maybe you could. I don't remember it because I don't think I did it. But here, because people make like tons of creations and stuff, you can actually not only create like and import your own party members, but literally every character in the entire game. So the first town that I went to was me and 3 of my friends, and we were trying to rescue the cast of Final Fantasy VII.
Nice.
Second town, we were trying to rescue the cast of Sonic the Hedgehog. And then now I'm in a town where it is all Dragon Ball Z characters. And it's just so much fun to have those guys in there. And then I've got like, Mario in there in certain places as one of the characters. And I've got some Persona characters in there, and it's just so much fun, and being able to create and import your own friends and stuff like that. Everybody who's in my party is a friend of mine, and so I don't have any like custom like video game characters or anime characters or anything like that. It's all like friends of mine. You are a tank, sir. That is your class.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's a blast. I love it. It's, again, I've said this a million times, it's not going to win any awards. It's not amazing by any means. It's not super deep, but it just makes me smile every time I load it up and start playing. And I hope to be done within the next couple of days so that I can start Suikoden Tactics, which is next on my list.
Oh, nice.
So
nice. I'm excited about that one, actually.
Yeah.
I have that. I played like the first battle or two. I like where that game is going. I just, backlog.
I haven't even touched it, but I love the Suikoden series, so I'm super excited. And I have a save that I can carry over from Suikoden 4, so that'll be kind of neat to implement in there as well. I also
quick question about Metopia. Is that the same game that was released on 3DS?
For the most part, yes. There are a few quality of life changes, and there's some new implementations. Like in this one, you get a horse that travels along with you. You didn't have that in the original. And like I said, I don't remember if you can decide what characters are for every single townsperson and everything in the original. That may have just been like pre-rendered or pre-created or whatever characters that were already in the game. I could be wrong about that, but I know that I didn't do it. I basically just like skipped through it. I just had my friends, and those were the only ones that I actually like had custom me characters for. So,
Nice.
but for the most part, it is the same game. Yes.
I do want to play it, and I probably will at some point. But man, my backlog just keeps growing.
It's a lot of
Or
fun.
not Final Fantasy. Resident Evil 7, 8. Resident Evil 8 is on my list right now to get through, and
Oh yeah,
I'm not
I
gonna play
beat
anything
Resident
else till I
Evil
get through
0
that.
and 1.
You have to tell me what you think of those games. Like, are you doing a review of them?
No, not officially.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Um,
So I do know. Sorry.
Go ahead.
When you told me that you played through Resident Evil, I was pretty excited until you told me that you started with 0. And that's kind of irritating because that's like, don't start with the 0. 0 is the one that, to me, if I were to play 0 first, I wouldn't want to play the rest of the series. I just don't
I'm
think very highly
somebody.
of that game.
I'm somebody who can get through the rough stuff, like The Witcher. I played through the first game, even though I didn't have to, because I wanted to get that background. I wanted to get that story.
Yeah.
That is a rough game to get through, extremely. Um, and then Witcher 2 was such a massive like leap from it. Um, and I was told that that Resident Evil 0, even though it came out later, was still story wise a decent primer for the first one.
I would
So
disagree. I would disagree.
I
I
mean, it
didn't
gave
feel
me
like
info on Wesker and stuff.
that
So
it. Okay.
mhm.
I just felt like okay, first of all, full disclosure, I have not beat that game, but I do know what happens in it. I just couldn't. I mean, every time I try to play it, and maybe I'll go back and try it again, but every time I try to get through it, I just can't. I can't get through the inventory system and the buddy system. The buddy system is a cool idea in theory, but in practice, I don't think it's very well implemented in that game, especially
Yeah,
with the inventory. You have to
that's
drop
it.
things and then go back and pick it up. They totally get rid of the box, and the box is such a staple of the series.
Did you play the
But
original though, or did you play the remake or remaster, whatever it is?
I've only played the original GameCube version.
Okay, so this one might be better because I really didn't think it was that bad to get through. Quite frankly, I thought it was a lot like the first one. I thought they were very, very similar in the way they
Hmm.
played. So I don't know.
Well, also like story wise, I felt like it was tacked on. First of all, I didn't think it was very
Yeah,
interesting.
it's not
And it
deep,
felt,
but it's
yeah,
it's neat.
it didn't really give me enough to like story wise. I guess it didn't really do much for me, and I
Didn't
wasn't
motivate you
very
to want to keep
interested
going.
in. Right, exactly. I didn't like the little slug things. I thought that was dumb. Um, but I mean, honestly, though, good on you for getting through it.
Mhm.
Um, what did you think overall after you finished it? Like, does it leave a sour taste like it did for me?
Honestly, no, not really. Like I mean, yes, in the fact that it was not a great game by any means, but I knew going, like I said, I can get through the crap if I know there's going to be good stuff coming. And I like the story itself has always been fascinating to me, even before I played any of these games. I knew about
Mm-hmm.
like Umbrella Corporation and how they're corrupt and they were been developing these bioweapons and blah, 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 all this stuff. So I was super, super fascinated by that. And that's kind of what drove me to want to get into it. And I knew that if I could just get through this first game, especially considering how short it was, I beat it in like, 7 hours. I was able to get to one, which was quite a bit better. Not great, still didn't love it. But it was, I could definitely see like, why people liked it so much and how it made the impact it did back in the day. Because it was just really, really cool to be able to discover this stuff and know that you're putting this big story together piece by piece, with every new chapter and every new item you find and that kind of thing. Um, my gripes with the games just basically came down to the gameplay, which I heard, gets better as the series goes on. So it's like, the obviously I didn't use the tank controls, but at the same time, it really didn't even matter because they still had it to where like you go into a new room and you could be pushing forward or what you think is forward, and you're still going to go backwards into the previous
Yeah.
room again, anyways. So like there were several times where I like would get to a new room and I would just have to like take my hands off the controller or my fingers
Yep.
off the thumbsticks,
But you
just
have
so
to
I
do
could
it
get my
really
bearings.
fast.
And right. So it was a little annoying in that regard. I also got really annoyed how every single item it was like, here's a new item. Okay, now it's going to put me in my inventory screen, but it's not going to give me the item yet. It's going to say, do you want to pick this up? Okay, I picked this up. Now it goes to my inventory screen and goes inside. Oh, I didn't want that character to have it. I want like it was just so much like needless, not even fluff, because it's not like it adds anything to it. It's just really really cumbersome and just annoying to have to go through all these screens just to be like, I should be able to walk up, push A, you got this, done. That's it. If I don't want it, I can drop it afterwards. But
That's
every item that
interesting.
I saw, I pretty much want to pick up. So I don't know why I needed to confirm every single time, especially given the amount of items in that game.
I get it though. I mean, I get where you're coming from. That's never been a complaint of mine, and it's interesting to me to hear that. The reason it's done that way, and I'm sure you know this already, is because you have limited inventory space. So you don't always want
Right.
to pick something up. So you got to pick and choose what you want to pick up and what
No,
you want to
but
leave behind.
like I said, you like it still gives you that, like, brings you into that screen if you can't pick something up, just to tell you that you can't pick it up. Like, you could easily leave that out and just say you don't have space for this. You don't have to put me into the inventory screen anyways, just tell me it doesn't fit.
Or, but when you're looking at it on the TV screen, you can't really tell what you're looking at. You'll just see this flashing
Right.
light, knowing that it's something there. So it still has to show you like what it is that you're potentially picking up. So like
Sure.
if I go into a room and I don't have much space, but I need something to heal with, um, and it's or let me give a better example. Like I have plenty of healing items and I have plenty of ammo and everything, but I'm looking for like a key, let's say,
Yep.
and I don't know if this item over here is a key or not. And then you go examine it to see if you want to take it or not. And then you leave the other stuff behind, come back later to pick it up if you want it.
Think about it though. Would you want to pick up items more often, or would you want to leave items behind more often?
I leave items behind more often. Unless I
Okay,
want to
but
make a run to the box, I'll leave it
right.
behind.
But I'm talking like if you see something, and like if you see like a plant or something, 9 times out of 10 you know if you need that or if you want
Yeah,
to pick it up or not. But I'm
right.
talking like if you see anything else, you see any kind of item, any glowy spot, you want to pick it up more than likely. That's the case.
True,
So you
true.
walk over, you pick it up. If it goes in your inventory, it should just go in there. Then you can look at it and drop it if you don't want it, which more often than not you do anyways because it's going to be an important item. So I just kind of feel like it would be there'd be a lot less instances of going into your inventory screen if they would just allow you to pick it up automatically. Because the only time you're going to go in there is if you want to drop it or if you want to use it, obviously later on. So I don't know. It was just I spent so much more time in my inventory screen than I wanted
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
and it was just I didn't
That
like it.
is that is a common complaint of Resident Evil. It honestly, I think I spend more time in my map screen than anything,
Yeah.
especially when you're walking around the mansion trying to figure out where I need to go next. And you know, I got a mental memory of it now, but the later areas in the game I don't have as much. So I'm
I'm
constantly going through my map to figure out where to
I'm
go
also
next.
really glad that enemies don't respawn.
Yes.
Save, like, if you don't set something on fire or make sure it's
Yeah.
100% dead and it comes back or whatever. But the amount of backtracking and like just going from room to room trying to figure out what item you need and where you need to put it and all that stuff. If stuff came back, I would not have wanted to finish the game at all. So I'm really glad it worked out that way. Um, I liked it. I just, like I said, the story is what kept me going. The gameplay, it's okay. So I'm excited to
that's
see what two holds.
that's cool. I'm glad you finally played through it. For me, it's not so much the story that keeps me going. It's this discovery, the sense of discovery, especially back when I played it originally. And I'm not talking about the remake. I'm talking about the original game. Um, First of all, you got to put it in its time. There was nothing else like it when it came out. But also, like, the sense of discovery in that game, I wanted to see every room in that mansion. I wanted to go to the next area. I to me the newness of what is in this room that I have to unlock. It's
Mhm.
I got to come back and see what's in there. That to me was the driving force more so than the story. I thought the story overall was pretty weak in the original game. Um, it just, I mean, it was cool, I guess, in theory. Like the setup, I thought was really good, where you are this team of special forces agents, and you're going to this mansion to rescue your comrades or whatever. It starts off very strong,
Mhm.
and then the story I felt like takes a backseat up until um, up until you get out of the mansion. I would say
Yeah, nothing. I
that's
mean,
when
there's not a lot of like really super substantial story beats in the game. It is more about the gameplay. So, and like I said, for me, I've just always been fascinated even before I played the game. So, getting to
yeah.
actually finally get something was nice.
I'm curious. Are you interested at all in playing the original, just for
Not really.
comparison's sake?
No,
Oh man,
I'm really not.
it's
I just
essentially
the
the
only reason I
same.
even like wanted to get into, because normally I would say yes, but I've heard so many frustrations about it, and the fact that I played the new one and still was not a fan of the gameplay makes me just go
Yeah.
like, yeah, I'm not gonna. So yeah, I have no interest. But I am excited to continue the story and move on with the game at some point. So
Yeah.
it'll be a while before I go to the second one though, because I literally just played 0 and 1 back to back. Um, so we'll see.
Well, I think if you're not a fan of the gameplay style, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with 4 when you get there.
That's
That's
what I
when the
hear.
series really makes a turn for the
Yep.
more
And
action
it's not
based, I
like it's
guess.
not like I hate it. I just am not like, it's not my cup of tea
It's
necessarily.
it's not for everybody. I get that, but it being like one of my favorite series of all time, I feel
Sure.
the need to have to protect it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I get it. I
um,
get it.
yeah, it's very divisive, especially the I know the tank controls not everybody likes, but the tank controls I think work best for that game because of the pre-rendered backgrounds. You
Sure.
don't have the issue where you run into an area, the camera changes, and then you're running back into that area again. When you
Yep.
have the tank controls, you're moving forward. You're going to continue to move forward. It's a learning curve to get that under
Sure.
control, yeah, and understand how it works. But yeah, um, Resident Evil 8 though I don't want to talk about it today because I'm not that far into it. I've only I think I'm about 3 or 4 hours into it, and that game is so freaking good. It's so freaking good. I love it. It's amazing.
Cool.
It's a definitely it's a combination of 7 and 4. It's got the goofiness of 4, and it just in the inventory system is the similar to 4. The setting is similar to 4, but the gameplay is just like 7. It's not quite as scary as 7. 7 is a
Yeah, that's
scary,
what I
scary
hear.
game. Um, But I think the reason 7 is scarier than 8, even though they're essentially the same in terms of gameplay and everything, is because 7 is rooted in some sort of familiarity, right? You are in a Louisiana home, basically. It's another house that you're going through, and there are different areas surrounding that house, but the game is always dark. It's dark outside, like all the time. All the rooms you go into are dark. It's just a very dark game, and so there's things out there to jump out and scare you constantly. 8 is not. I mean, there I've in my playthrough of 8, I can think of the specific areas that were dark. The rest of the
Right.
game is really nicely lit, bright. Still scary. There's plenty of jump scares, but I don't know. It's not. It doesn't hit me on that same level that 7 did, and I think I kind of missed that. I kind of missed that, but it doesn't detract from the experience at all. It's a wonderful game so far,
Cool.
and I'll probably talk more about it on the next episode whenever I do get through it. So,
I also tried my hand at going to a garage sale and getting some games.
uh
Um,
oh,
told you I had a
yes,
story.
you have to tell. You do have the story. Let me set this up for how you set it up for me. You said I was telling you about my garage sale find, which I'll talk about
Hmm.
later, but you said that there was a posting about some games being advertised. I don't know where you found them advertised, but you were going to go to the sale the following morning. And without knowing the details, because it was posted, you probably had competition, probably had people who called ahead of time, probably picked it up before you were even had a chance to even get there. But I don't know. I'm curious to know the whole story here.
You're partly right.
Okay.
Okay, so it was actually a few days prior that I was looking. I every now and then I go online and I'll just like garage sales this weekend / video games, whatever.
Mhm.
And I will try and see what I can find. Well, I found this one that's in a town that's about 45 minutes away from where I live, and they had a
Ooh.
picture with a handful of games on there, and I mean it was like a good sized stack. So I was like, okay, I'll drive out there. I'll go early. I'll see what I can do. They said they were going to open at 8. Saturday morning came. Um, I got there at about 7:30, and there were people setting up tables and stuff and everything. So I was like, sweet, I'm early. I'll hop out and I'll just at least go talk to them, say hi. I'm sure they won't mind if I'm a little early, whatever. So it's a full half hour early go in, and I'm walking around, kind of looking around, and they were super nice. And I go, have you guys put out the video games that I saw online yet? And she goes, huh, video games? I go, yeah. And she goes, about 10 minutes ago, I just had a guy come in and buy every single one of them.
Mm.
And I had just gone to the bank. I had pulled out $160 to not spend all on there because I was actually going to a wedding that night, which is
Yeah.
actually relevant to the story. I was going to a wedding that night, so I wanted to have $50 cash to put in a card to give to them. So I was fully ready to like see what I could get. I have $100 just in case, that way I could have extra cash anyways for whatever. But I was fully ready to spend, whatever I needed to get these games.
Right.
And I was like, all of them? And she goes, yeah, every single one. Just came, swiped them all up. So I just driven 45 minutes out there. I immediately, like, my whole body just felt rage. Like I was seething. I was so mad. So I'm like, okay. There were some like DVDs there that I was actually wanting to buy as well for like 75 cents a piece. I was so pissed I didn't even care. I just left. I was done. Like, so I got in my car and I'm driving back home, 45-minute trip again. And I'm just the whole way home, I'm like in my mind picturing what I would do to this guy if I found him. And like I'm gonna go to the next garage sale that I know of, and I'm gonna show up 45 minutes early, and I'm gonna buy him all before he gets there. I don't even know what he looks like, but I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna show that guy. Like I was so mad, and like I was just absolutely freaking boiling all the way home. So I get about probably halfway home or so, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna be cool about it because I get it. People want games. I wasn't expecting this because we don't have a lot of mom and pop shops left around here. So I didn't think there would be like, somebody who was that crazy to go out and swipe them all like 45 minutes before they freaking open. So I was like, I get it. It's fine. Whatever. Honestly, if I had the opportunity, I probably would have done it myself. So I get about halfway home or so, 3/4 of the way home, whatever. And I'm like, I'm sure there's other garage sales. I'm going to go take a look. So I pull up my phone and I'm looking, and I find one that's a little bit closer to home, getting close to where I was at the time. I was like, this one opens at 9. I'm going to go there because it's about 8:15 right now. We'll see what's up. Get there about 8:30. There's like 12 cars already lined out in front of the house. And I'm like, this, like, I was so mad. I was like, this is the most BS. Like, I woke up early for this stuff. I was laying in bed. I didn't have to get up. I'm so angry and so mad. And I was just like screaming in my car at myself. Like I was just seething, man. I was so unbelievably pissed off. Now, as soon as I tell you this next part, you're going to know exactly where the story is going. So
I think
just
I already
heads
do.
up.
I think I already do.
I guarantee you do not. I
Okay.
guarantee
Okay.
you don't. So as I'm getting ready to go home, I'm like, you know what? They just built a new casino a couple of years ago, really close by, that I have been wanting to go check out. I'm not a big gambler. I don't really go or anything like that a bit. I was like, I love going to Vegas. Vegas is like, I've been there 6 times. It's one of my favorite places to go to, and I'm not a big gambler or anything. So I wanted to go check out this new casino. And I'm like, you know what? I'm out. May as well. I'm just going to drive over there, walk inside for a little bit. I got cash on me. Maybe I'll drop like 20, 40 bucks or something, and whatever. So I drive out there. I'm still mad. I'm still thinking about the stupid games and how I missed out and everything like that. I get to this casino and I park my car and I walk inside, and it's really small. First of all, I was like, this is a hell of a lot smaller than I was expecting it to be. Not that that's a big deal. I couldn't care less, but it just an observation. So I walk around a bit. I find a machine that has a big shiny gold dragon on the front of it. And I'm like, you know what? I'm feeling good about this. Screw it. Let's throw 20 bucks in and do it. Lost 20 bucks in 30 seconds. Like, just
Yeah.
which did not help my mood at all, as you can imagine. So I'm even more pissed off, and I'm like, this is the worst. Like, I don't know how the universe hates me this much today. Like, I don't know what I've done to deserve this right now. Like, worst luck in the world. This is terrible. So as I'm walking out, I see another machine, and I'm like, you know what? I all I have are 20s. I need $10 so I can do two 20s and a 10 for the card for the wedding, so I can do an even $50. So I was like, I'm gonna put $20 into another machine and only use 10 of it, and then I'll just take the other 10 and I'll leave. So I find this machine, and it's like all the buttons are. It looked like it's like 40, 50 years old. All the buttons are. There's probably like 15, 20 buttons on the thing, but only one of them has numbers on it. So it said like 1000. So I was like, or 100. So I was like, oh, so it's you push it, you bet $1, and it was like an old school slot machine. So I was like, yeah, I can do that. Sure, let's just do that. That'll give me 10 rolls, and who cares? We'll see what happens. If I lose $10 more, then obviously my day can't get any worse. So I sit down, I push the button once, expecting $1 to go down, and it takes $5 out. And I'm like, you mother. Like, I was like, oh my God, you're kidding. Like, I was so mad. And I'm just sitting there, like, I'm like, tapping my foot and just kind of like staring straight ahead, trying to like not lose my cool and everything in the middle of this freaking casino. And I'm like, well, it doesn't matter. I mean, $5 down, I may as well just do the other $5 and then get the hell out of here. Push the button again. I win $200.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah. And that's I was like stunned. I was absolutely stunned. I was just like, I'm gonna leave right now. I'm gonna leave while my luck is good. And as I was walking to my car, that's when you sent me the text of your the pictures of the stuff that you got. And so that's when I was like, I've got a story for you, man. So I left, with, I spent 30 while I was there, but 170 up, I'll take it. So especially when I was considering on spending, $50 to $100 at a garage sale earlier. So that was
a great
on a
story.
High note, but man, I was pissed off that whole morning up until then. So I went to McDonald's and got a really unhealthy breakfast that was massive.
So, did that change your day?
Honestly, like even for the first hour or so, I had to kind of process what just happened. I was like, this never happens to me at all, and I was just like on the worst luck streak of my life. Like, what the hell's going on? Like, so in the grand scheme of things, obviously none of that stuff really matters, but I was just like, I thought it was pretty crazy how it all turned out in the end. So
it's funny. Your story is funny to me because if you've never been to a casino before, and we have them all over Oklahoma, they are those slot machines are so confusing. It says $1. It might say $1, but you have to, if you can't read or understand what button to push, and you do max bet, you can easily lose all your money in just one spin.
All the other buttons on the thing were just white. And then there was just that one, the numbers on it.
Yeah. It doesn't, I mean, unless you understand it, it's hard to get it. Similar story happened to my brother, although he didn't win. He went to I went with him to a casino, and we walked by a machine, and he put $20 bill in there, didn't know what button to push one button, and he got one play out of that $20, and that was it. He lost $20 and that's on one spin, didn't even get the play.
Yeah.
So casinos suck. I hate casinos, by the way. I mean, I've won big on casinos before, but
I love casinos. I just am not I'm not big on gambling, but I love casinos. Yeah. I love the lights, the sounds, people watching.
Really?
In Vegas, I like drinking for free, obviously. So it's I love going out there. I'll actually be there this July.
What did that have to do with the wedding? Oh, because you had to come up with the 50.
I had to get the $50. Yeah, so I was planning on just spending the 10. Yep.
I see. That's funny. I do. It's funny hearing your perspective on the garage sale thing, because I think garage sales aren't for everybody. You have to be much like a casino. I think you have to have a little bit of season to understand how garage sales work. And anytime, and this is a pro tip for anybody out there, anytime somebody posts video games at a garage sale, don't count on getting them. Don't count it. The competition is so fierce. Resellers prey on video games. They know that video games have a lot of value, especially right now in the market, in today's market. The only way you're going to find video games at a garage sale is by just randomly going to garage sales, and especially um, ones that are posted. What usually happens is that somebody will either message them or call them after the post is made and
Say,
buy the
hold it for me.
games. Yes, and they'll buy
Yeah.
the games before it even has a chance to get out there. I do like if there is a garage sale that advertises video games and it's within, I don't know, a few miles of my house, I then will go to it, but I'm not going to go out of my way. It's not something, it's not worth it to me because I've I've been burned much like you so many times. In fact, last fall there was a garage sale that advertised video games, had pictures of video games. It was about, I don't know, 15 20 minutes away from my house, and I was excited to go see it. And I got there about 20 minutes before the sale opened, and the woman never ended up opening the sale. And I sat there and I was like, I'm not going to go knock on her door. I'm not going to be an asshole about it,
Right.
but I'm going to sit there and wait. Um, so then I look on the app again, and it turns out that she canceled the sale that morning. So I was like, screw, oh, man, I wasted like 30 minutes just sitting in front of her house waiting for her to open. Um, the next morning, I went out there again, got there 5 minutes early because I was already didn't want to waste time.
Right.
Um, 5 minutes early, and somebody had already literally five. She said 5 minutes before I got there, somebody had already scooped up all the games, just like what happened with you.
Jeez.
So it's one of those things that you have to be, you have to be, you have just give them up unless it's right next to your house. Don't go to it. The other thing is, the only way that I find good stuff at garage sales is on Friday mornings and Saturday mornings. You have to set aside time to go. If a sale is advertised for Friday, Saturday, and you're going on a Saturday, don't bother going to
No,
it. You're not going to find anything.
Mm-mm. Yep.
If they advertise Friday, Saturday, go Saturday morning. Go as early as you possibly can. Don't go there and bother people. Don't, knock on doors and start taking stuff as
If it opens at 10, don't show up at 6:30.
Right, exactly. But some of my best finds happen on Fridays, and it's right before work. So I have to be at work by 9. So I'll go out from about 7:30 to 8:45. That's when I usually find good stuff. And I go to neighborhood sales and just sales that I pass along my way to work. And those are the ones, especially the ones that are not advertising at all. Those are the ones that I usually find good stuff at. Also, if you go into a neighborhood, sorry, this has turned into like pro tip garage sale extravaganza. This is one of my favorite things to do. So you have to go, if you go into a neighborhood, what I typically do is I will go deep into the neighborhood and start in the house that's like the most remote, and then work my way out. And that's usually where I find good stuff too. But yeah, it's fun. I would also recommend like church sales.
I didn't have fun at all. It was not fun.
I had fun with it. I had fun with it. Like, okay, it's like fishing. Do you like fishing?
No, hate fishing.
I think of it like fishing. I love fishing. Fishing is one of those things where you just sit there and you fish, and you may not get anything, but for that one time that you do, it's so exciting. It's like, I love it. It gives me so much joy. That's the same feeling I get from garage selling. I will hit sale after sale after sale after sale, not find anything, get so discouraged, ready to quit, and then boom, I find something. And it's
do you walk around, or do you actually get out of your car, walk over there, go back to your car when you don't find anything, go to the next one, get out of your car, walk around, go back to your car?
What I do.
Oh.
Yeah.
If I had somebody with me, I'd probably do it, but I just feel so weird getting out of my car, walking around, seeing nothing, and then just leaving. Like, I feel bad.
I've done it so many times that it doesn't even faze me. I'll be friendly, like, especially if I'm the only one there. I'll say hi. Oh, other pro tip: you have to ask, and don't ask at every sale. Ask at sales that seem like they would have it, like sales with kids, sales with toys, and things like that. Ask at those sales. Those are the ones that mostly will have video games. They won't always, like, but you're never going to know unless you ask. Most of the time when I ask, they'll say no, or maybe they'll bring some stuff out. Like I got a 3DS XL, new 3DS XL, and a bunch of games from an ask because they had Pokemon stuff. I also got a bunch of Pokemon cards at that same sale from an ask. So it's worth it to ask. She wouldn't have had them out otherwise. But I wanted to tell you about my sale that I went to that same day that you told me about yours. Actually, was it the day before or I think it was both days. So I went out Friday morning to a neighborhood sale right before work, and I go through the whole sale, and I was like totally discouraged. I didn't find anything. It was like 10 minutes. No, it was about 20 minutes before I needed to be at work. I was only about 5 minutes away. So, um, last house I stopped at, very last house I stopped at. It didn't look like much, but I went ahead and got out and looked anyway. And this woman had uh, Gundam models, Dragon Ball Z models, and um, just a whole bunch of like novelty Japanese import stuff,
Right.
right? And I was going through it, and I picked up all the models, and I asked her how much. She's like, "Oh, $5." She didn't want more than $5 for anything that she had out. So she had like five models. I stacked them all up, put them aside. That was what I was taking. Kept looking. She had um she had a Switch copy of Phoenix Wright trilogy, which is which was an import that um a physical release of that game has never come out in the US, but this game still works. If you put it in your
Hmm.
Switch system, yeah, it works
Yeah, it's region
like
free.
region free. It's amazing. I got that for $5. That thing is like, if you go on Amazon or eBay to buy it, it's like a $40 to $50 game. So I got that for $5. I got, oh man, I don't remember now. It was so much stuff. Um, I paid like $35 total at that sale and came home with probably $300 in value worth of stuff. And it's all stuff that I'm into, like the models. I love putting together those models. And I've been wanting to get like the Dragon Ball Z models to put together. So I've got all those. And then as I was leaving, I noticed in her garage, she had boxes and boxes and boxes filled with stuff, and I could see inside of them like little trinkets and things that I might want. So I was super excited about it. And so I called Amy and I said, Amy, I have a feeling she's going to put more stuff out there. Can you go take a look while I'm at work, please? And her being the good sport. And also, there was some stuff there that I thought she might be interested in getting as well. So she went there and she found some statues, some like, oh, what is it? Project Diva F or whatever. I can't remember the name of it. Hatsune Miku, whatever. It's stuff that my daughter's into. So she
Sure.
found some statues for $5 that brand new. All of the stuff is brand new, by the way. Um, and then she put out five more models out. So Amy picked up all those models for me. So I have almost a complete set of Dragon Ball Z models. It's crazy. Well, maybe not a complete set, but ones that I would be interested
Still,
in.
yeah.
Yeah, and picked up she picked up some other stuff. I don't remember what. So the next day, I was like, "This is the neighborhood sale. She's gonna be open the next day. She's gonna put more stuff out." I went back and she put out some amiibo, and they were the not dragon, monster hunter stories. There, that's what I'm getting at.
Oh, okay.
Monster hunter stories. I don't know if those were released here or not. I assume they were at one point in time, but they were extremely limited.
Yep.
And so she had those out. She had three of those out, and I asked her if she had more. I was like, "Do you have any more toys or video games?" She goes, "Oh yeah, yeah, I do." She goes back to the back of her little box area and comes out and brings me like four or five more amiibo. There was a two Link amiibos. One of them the Smash Bros version. The other one was like a Twilight Princess version. And then she brought out a different Dragon Quest story or Dragon Monster Hunter Stories amiibo. And then she brought out the Wolf Link. All these were still in the box, by the way, unopened. And she brought out a Sonic amiibo. I was ecstatic. I was like, yes, I'll take all of them. I asked her how much, $5. I said, I'll take all of them. And this woman who was over looking at other stuff, by the way, had nothing to
Hmm.
do with anything that I was talking to um, the seller or whatever about. Overheard me ask and saw her bring this other stuff out. She runs over there, picks up the Sonic amiibo. She's, oh, can I have this, please? Can I have this, please? And just like being super rude about it
Oh
and
man.
forceful about it. And I was like, I already had that amiibo.
Yeah.
All
Like
I
I
was gonna do
shouldn't,
was
but
I was
what's
gonna
the point in
resell
getting
it,
into it? Yeah.
and honestly, at that point, I was like, do I want to fight with this woman over
Right.
freaking amiibo, or do I just want to let it go? And I was already happy with what I got. I just let it go. But I was so pissed. Don't do that. Don't do that. If somebody is already purchasing something, don't jump in and try to sabotage the deal,
Yeah.
especially when they weren't out and I asked for them.
You should have been like
And
$10, sure.
yeah, I was very, very, very irritated about that, but I just let it go. Here's that amiibo, by the way. I took it out of the box.
Yeah.
These things are so cool. The little riders come off of the monsters, and you can put them, you can interchange them with the other monsters. It's really neat. Anyway, I don't know if you guys have, or if I've ever shown you my amiibo collection, but I got an amiibo collection right here. It's pretty extensive. So I was excited. Yeah, that's my story of garage selling. I don't think I have much more to share. I do have one more story. We'll get into our topic. I don't think we ever announced. Did we announce what our topic is?
Nope. I mean, last episode we did.
All right, I'll save this.
And it'll be in the title.
I don't have all the details of the story yet, so I'm gonna save it for next time.
Yeah, may as well.
Remind me to tell you about my eBay experience, and I'll tell it next time.
All right.
So I'm gonna get us kicked off here, if that's cool.
What?
I'm gonna get us kicked off here.
I don't understand.
Off of the internet.
Are you gonna start humming a tune that's copyrighted?
Dude, I'm like up here right now.
What is happening? What? I'm so confused.
I'm talking about something that is so interesting to me. Not the E3 stuff. The subject that we just got off of. I was so excited to be able to tell that story that now like my enthusiasm level is way up here, and so I got to contain it. I'll calm down. Take us. You take us away, please.
I'm still trying to figure out why you're going to get us kicked off the internet.
I was going to get it kicked off, like and kicked off the next topic.
Oh! I see what you're saying. Gosh, I'm like, what? Kicked off the internet? I don't understand what you're. We're here to talk E3, E3 2021. Yeah, it's very, very different this year from the way it has been in years past. So we kind of figured it'd be a good idea to kind of. I mean, I'm sure obviously we'll talk about what we expect and you know, maybe a few predictions, things we're looking for and that kind of thing. But I kind of was like a little bit more interested in like E3 as a whole and what it's become compared to what it was. You and I have both been to E3 physically. And even that was two vastly different experiences because I went before they allowed the general public in, and you went when they did start doing the where they called like gamer tickets or something like that, or gamer passes.
Gamer pass, yeah.
Yeah, they didn't have that back when I went. You had to register and list that you were part of an organization, all this stuff and everything, which I was able to do through the Frozen North. Honestly, anybody could have done it anyways, but a lot of people didn't. So, man, it's so weird not to like, you know, because for like, you know, the past decade or whatever, I literally every time this time of year would come around, I would get ready to sit in front of my TV and watch the massive presentation with the giant crowd cheering in the background, and you know, get excited for what was coming and stuff like that, knowing that people were going to try these things out and go to this place, and you were going to have interviews on the showroom floor and all this stuff, and a lot of that's going to be gone. We're still going to have the presentations, but the fact that it's going all digital, there's not going to be, like, you know, as far as I know, big crowds there or anything like that. It's going to be a lot more spaced out. Like I think today is the 26th of May that we're recording this, but I think like one of the first things that's considered part of E3 is tonight, which is the Dragon Quest presentation, and then we've got stuff, you know, all through mid to late June that's scheduled, you know, sporadically spread out through it, because everybody's doing their own thing with their own timing. Which, I mean, I don't mind. It's just, you know, it's just kind of crazy that there were people I know back then who would literally take like the whole week off just to like watch E3 coverage and do all that stuff and be able to, you know, see this thing that's going on. And now there's really no point because it's so spread out. So I just find that fascinating. What do you think? Do you think do you prefer, well, I mean, obviously we haven't seen this yet, so we don't know how this is going to be, but we can pretty much guess. It's a digital presentation. We get that throughout the year anyway. So is that going to make any E3 any less special? And would you rather they, kept it going where you could go physically and want to go back someday?
So no, I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a big deal. I think it's going to be a. I think it's a step in the right direction. Now, obviously, people can't go there because we're still in the pandemic. Whether whether we like it or not, it's still going on until everybody's vaccinated. We need to still practice safe distances and things. But having been to E3, I know how hectic and crazy it is, and I know like how many people are there. And if one person has COVID and there's people there without their vaccinations, they're gonna catch it.
I
It's
can't even imagine
crazy,
what it was like when you were there. Like
dude. It
the
was
amount of
that
people,
main hall. Whenever you go
insane.
in, the hall that leads from one auditorium to the next, and it's got the big
Hmm.
windows and stuff.
Yep.
That was like this shoulder to shoulder all the way through,
Yeah.
like
I
being
mean, it
in the
was full
sardine
when I
can.
was there, but it wasn't like that. It was just lines. Like you could see the clear lines. There was plenty of space to still walk around and get around people and
No,
everything.
not when
That's
I was there.
crazy.
It was
Oof.
insane. Like it was cool. And I've said this before, the experience was cool. Just to say that I've done it and experienced it, I wouldn't go again. I mean, it's just not.
Same.
It's not. There's too many people. I just don't like
Yep.
it. But when you think about E3, you think about video game announcements, and you think about seeing the new videos, and if there's demos, you're going to see demos. So
Yep.
that's the exciting thing about E3 to me, and I prefer getting that information on my own time, on my own computer,
Sure.
listening to those press conferences when I'm sitting at work, have my headphones in, and just listen to the press conferences while I'm at work, and get excited about the next new reveal, whatever it may be. So the big thing about going to E3 though for me was experiencing the show floors, all the different booths set up, the video game characters and environment things that they build specifically
Yeah.
for that show, which are
Absolutely.
cool. They are cool. But it's also like getting swag, getting t-shirts, getting things like that. That's always cool. Um, but it's also playing demos of the games, right? Like that's the main thing you go there for, at least for me. Like it was like going to an amusement park, and you're going to go, you find that ride that you really want to ride, and then you go wait in that line for a couple hours until you experience that ride, right?
Yep.
It's the same way with these booths at E3. You're waiting in line to experience these demos and
Long
be the
time.
first person to play the game. Like I played the Resident Evil 2 remake for the first time, waited 3.5 hours to do so.
Yep.
Sucked. It sucked, but it was so worth it. Like so worth it for me to be able to experience that game for the first time. So I think where I'm getting at is I think if they were to release demos to the public, even if it's during the E3 week and then they take them away,
Sure.
just some sort of something to give us that satisfaction. I think I would be happy with something like that.
I think a lot of people would be happy with that.
I think that I mean that's kind of the main thing but
Yep.
about E3. What else is there really? Walking through tons and tons and tons of people. I mean,
No, you're 100% right. I honestly like I that was my favorite aspect of it as well. Is I remember the biggest one that stood out to me was Sea of Thieves. When I went, I went in 2016, and that was like I think a year after it was actually announced, but they had a playable demo there, and I was in line. We got there early. We were still in line for about 2.5, 3 hours. And we get up there, they give us our t-shirts, and you walk up to the booth, and they separate you into teams of 5, and then everybody's just in the same world, and they say, all right, you're going to have a team leader, and then you four are going to work together to do this stuff. And it was a blast. I fell in love with the game right then and there. And I'm guessing part of that was the atmosphere, because you have people all sitting close to each other or standing, whatever it was, playing this game, and like just pirate ships beating the crap out of each other and stuff. Everybody's screaming and having a great time, and just the atmosphere was great. And you're in a place with thousands of other gamers, people who are into the same thing you are. The energy is what I really really
Yeah.
liked about it, because even when you are standing those lines, you're standing next to other gamers, you're still having conversations, you're talking to people about new things that are coming out.
Yeah.
I again, we talked earlier about Resident Evil. I'm not a massive fan by any means, at least not yet. And I hadn't at that point really played any of them. I don't know if it was whatever came out in 2016, so 6 or 7. They had an entire mock mansion like setup in there that you
Yeah.
could go in and walk around in and stuff like that, where they would showcase the game and everything. I didn't do it mainly because I again wasn't a massive Resident Evil fan or anything,
Yeah.
and because that was one of the longest lines at the place. Instead I went over and I was like, Final Fantasy 12 remaster, woo! And like they were showcasing Batman VR at the time, and the Ghost Recon Wildlands came out, which I end up loving that game as well. There's just a lot of really cool stuff to see, and just the energy and the atmosphere. That's 100% what I will miss the most. Um, but again, like you said, I don't know that I would necessarily go back, because as great as that was, I don't know that it was worth it, because most of what I want out of E3 is just to see what's coming next. I don't even
Yeah.
honestly like, demos would be cool, and I know probably most people would prefer that. I didn't even really care about the demos, to be honest. I love just sitting back on my couch watching like a hour and a half presentation of Microsoft getting up there and just showing new games and
I agree.
telling us what's coming. I love doing that. And I typically, when I have done like reviews for my old podcast and my channel, I will watch those press conferences like 2 or 3 times just so I make sure I get everything. And I'll be taking notes, after the first time that I go through, just so I know which ones to talk about and which ones to go over.
Hmm.
I just enjoy that so much, getting that new info, being fed that info. And that's kind of like, even though I wouldn't want to go back, I do kind of still wish they were having those in-person um, conferences, because I really like when they go to the floor and they have people interviewing the developers amongst the crowd, and they talk to fans and say like, hey, you just played the demo, what do you think? That kind of thing. I love seeing the interaction. I love seeing people talk about their products and games and everything. And I'm sure we'll get that in some capacity, because like I could see some of them taking like a note from the PC game show, where they sit down with somebody and like interview them and talk to them, stuff like that. You see a little bit, but not as much. I think they're going to kind of go towards that more often, moving in the future.
Hmm.
So we'll have to see. But I don't know, man. I'm torn, uh, because I totally get it. I understand why we're doing it, but at the same time, there are definitely some things that I'm going to miss, that won't be possible, at least in the same capacity. So
Right. No, I agree with you. It's just, to me, it's one of those things that I think it'll come back. I think this is only a temporary thing. It depends on how successful this year goes, really, unless they've announced something that I haven't heard.
they were
But
talking about E3 going like, I don't know if under is the right word, but kind of like going digital even before COVID though.
true.
So
And then I don't remember, or was it maybe like 10 years ago, whenever they stopped doing E3 and they just did little private conferences, um, where they only had certain people who were invited to go out, and you would go from hotel room to
yeah,
hotel room. I remember listening to it on a games GameSpot podcast whenever they did it that way. But they killed E3 for a year or two and then brought it back, and it's been going pretty well since then. But since people have been getting their information from the game developers directly via like Nintendo doing their directs
yeah,
and PlayStation doing their directs, and now here Dragon Quest is about to do their direct. It's like, why do they need E3? They can
yeah,
reach the masses for far less money and easier on their own. They don't need
absolutely.
E3. So it's I think I'm okay having I'm just glad that I got to experience E3 before it goes away, because it's
Agreed.
such an iconic
100%.
thing in my childhood.
Yep.
Probably for you as well. Like whenever
Yeah.
E3, you knew when E3 happened because you see it in your magazines. I remember flipping through my Game Informer, or not Game Informer, Games Game Pro magazine, and I just remember seeing all the statues and everything and being so pumped. It's like, how can I go here? This is amazing. How does this even exist? So I'm glad I got to experience it, but I think it's time. it's time for it to go.
No, I hear you. I really do hope that they continue to like, not even necessarily, I don't have to call it E3 or anything like that, but I like the idea of like having a specific time of year where like everybody comes out with something. And so you've got like all these things to look forward to throughout the month of June. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Rather than, I love getting bits and pieces throughout the year. That's great and everything. But like to be like, oh man, June's coming up. That means everybody's going to have a presentation ready and they're all going to come in at once and give us all this info. That's awesome. It's something to look forward to. Whereas like looking at Twitter, just being like, I hope we get some Nintendo news in the next couple of months. You have no idea. This way, at least like you have something to look forward to because there's something concrete.
I agree with you.
That's kind of how I look at it. Like, I mean, it's you got the Dragon Quest thing tonight. I'm looking at the list right now. There's a supposedly Sonic's 30th anniversary. They're going to be celebrating tomorrow, the 27th. So there's supposed to be an announcement there. Horizon Forbidden West. We're supposed to see some gameplay of that. Far Cry 6, Battlefield 6. Geez. Yeah, I mean, all through June, there's just indie stuff and Bethesda, Ubisoft, Xbox, obviously PC, all that stuff. I mean, it's just really, really cool just to see how much over the next month is going to be just announced and showcased. And I love that. I love knowing that we're getting all this stuff in the next month all at once. I think that's great.
Yeah.
So
I like that it's spread out like that too. That's kind of nice. Like you're not getting a huge info dump. It's going to be spread out. So you have something to look forward to throughout the course of the month, and nice little surprises as well.
Do you have anything specific you're looking forward to this year or want to hear more about?
So honestly, not really. Like I want to see if they're going to do. Hey.
Oh, see, dog disagrees as well.
I don't know what she saw, but she's going crazy. I'm curious to see if they do a Zelda 3D collection on the Switch. It's funny. Like, I don't know of anything new that I'm looking forward to, but I am looking forward to like re-releases of old things. It's just kind of my thing. I really like a lot of people like
good bet.
The 3D Mario collection that came out last year. That was awesome.
Yep.
I would like to see a Zelda one. Even though
I'd like to see a Zelda Maker, quite frankly.
Oh, that would be even better. That would be even better, dude. Gosh, I don't know, man. Like I was looking through the new releases and okay, I do have one. There was one that stood out to me only because it's from software. But and of course I'm going to draw a blank on the name of the game right now when I'm trying to think of it. Unless you know.
I have no idea.
Searching. And it is Elden Ring. Gosh, how did I forget that? Elden Ring.
George R. R. Martin one, right?
Yes. Well,
isn't it?
I think it is. I think it's in a collaboration with him. I don't know at what point. Like, is he the writer of the story? Well, probably so.
I can't imagine he's the gameplay designer.
No, he's the character designer.
Yeah, well. Okay.
Elden Ring is the one that I'm most looking forward to hearing more information about. Other than that, like nothing really jumped out at me. So I'm hoping for some nice surprises of things that I hadn't thought about before. So what about you?
I mean, Square Enix just in general. I'm excited to see what they have to offer. Obviously Final Fantasy VII Remake Episode 2, hoping for something on that, just even a little morsel. The rumor about Final Fantasy Souls type game, I think sounds really intriguing, and obviously something I will check out for sure.
It's supposed to be a Souls type?
Yeah.
I missed that part of the information. I thought it was just going to be
That's what I was asking you about before. I was like, have you seen the Souls Final Fantasy game?
No, dude. Yeah. Okay, so the only thing I heard about that, it was a Final Fantasy game being developed by Ninja Theory.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like Dark Souls type.
Dude, I didn't know that. That is okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
That's why I was like,
that.
Really? Oh, okay. All right. If you're not interested, fine. Man.
Oh, I'm very interested now. That's awesome to hear.
Yeah. And then Final Fantasy 16, obviously. I'd like to get some more info on that. Yeah. and I mean, hopefully, I think it's a safe bet. Like you were saying, the classic re-releases and stuff. We've seen a whole bunch of those this past year alone. Saga Frontier, Legend of Mana, Romancing Saga, all that stuff has been re-released. Actually, the past couple of years because the Mana trilogy in general and
Right.
the Final Fantasy Legend trilogy and all that stuff. I'm hoping to see some more of those. I would love to see a big announcement from like Nintendo saying like, "Hey, we got all these RPGs coming out that we're going to be releasing on our Nintendo Online program from Super Nintendo, N64, GameCube, whatever, and that's another thing I would like to see them announce an N64 component to that to their NES and Super and any SNES
That would be cool.
online thing.
I don't see it happening though.
I don't either, but I would certainly love to see it.
Yeah.
Um, there's I'm excited. I really I have no idea what to expect, but the things that are rattling around in my mind, and this happens every single time. So I honestly, yeah, and I have so much to play at the moment that even if I am like severely disappointed, it really doesn't bother me because honestly, it'll just be a big stress release, and I'll be like, you know what? Now I don't have to worry about playing all this extra crap because none of it looks that great. So whatever, it's fine. I got plenty to play now, anyways. Um,
Yeah.
so obviously, I want to know more about Horizon. I want to know if Dragon Quest 12, which when this episode is finally released, we will know that because it'll have already aired. That's going to be tonight. Um, I'm just man, I'm excited like for a lot of stuff that's coming out. Obviously, Sonic, if they're doing something for the 30th anniversary. Um, yeah, I'm there's plenty that I'm excited about. New Elder
I'm
Scrolls.
yeah, yeah.
So
So
I
the
doubt
thing
we'll
is
see
with
anything on that
E3
though.
though, the thing is with E3 every year is the surprise announcements. And I think I mean there's always a few games that we already know about, but it's always the ones that we don't know about that really get me the most excited when E3
Sure.
comes around. Like that Resident Evil 2 when I went the year that I went, that we didn't know anything about that and then they announced it during E3 and had a playable demo there. It was like the best year that I could have gone honestly. So I'm curious to see what else, what other kinds of announcements we get because everything's been pretty quiet here lately as far as like new game announcements.
Yep.
Um, Besides the Dragon Quest 12, do you have any like predictions or in the Zelda Mario Maker or Zelda Maker? Do you have any other predictions or hopes besides that? Oh, in the
Uh,
64, I guess you named off quite a
yeah, I
few
mean,
there.
I just rattled off a whole bunch. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of stuff. Far Cry 6, I'm looking to see more info about because I love the Far Cry series.
Well, I mean, I'm thinking like in terms of what I want to see, I like seeing honestly, I like seeing the remasters and remakes of
Mhm.
games. You know, people don't typically care for those, but I'm kind of about
I
those.
don't. I think they do. I think that's why we're seeing a resurgence of those and a lot of re-releases because I think these companies are starting to finally get the hint that like, hey, people want to experience these older games and you're not doing anything to preserve them. So
Yeah,
give us something here. Um, so and it's thankfully a lot of them tend to be RPGs that they're doing that with, which is nice.
yeah,
So
yeah.
at least for people like us. So I yeah, I'm excited for that kind of thing.
What about the new online Final Fantasy? What's it called? Um, is that
Endwalker?
16 or no?
What are you talking about?
The new online Final Fantasy, the successor to 11. Here, let me look
Final
it up.
Fantasy 14 isn't new. Do you
Or
mean
14.
Endwalker, the expansion?
Is that what it is? I thought it was a
Yeah.
whole new game.
Endwalker is an expansion.
Oh.
Final Fantasy 16
Oh.
is a completely separate thing, and the Final Fantasy Dark Souls thing is a completely separate thing.
Well, I knew that, but I thought the new Final Fantasy online game was a completely new like
It's an
it's
expansion of
just an
14,
expansion.
yep.
Okay.
Which
Are
I
they
have been playing still actively.
are they redoing graphics and stuff with this expansion cuz it looked pretty cool. But
No,
they
they're
only
it's.
showed like F&B stuff.
I mean, it's the same style it's in. So, but
Okay.
it's going to be very Final Fantasy 4 focused because we're going to the moon, and it's going to be really sweet. Super freaking excited because I love that
Going to
game
the
so much.
moon.
Leviathan server, if anybody wants to play, look me up. Just saying.
Look it
Yeah,
up.
I'm on there all the time.
Are you really?
I've had an
Wow.
active account since day one.
Well, I didn't know you were still like. Do you play daily or
So
what?
no, not daily. So I will go in spurts as far as like when I play. I will for like 3-4 months. I will be on there every day to every other day for at least like a dungeon run or two, and to knock out a few quests or something like that. And then I'll
Huh.
take a long break where I'll just log in, because you have to log in at least once every 45 days if you own a house in game. Otherwise, you lose it.
You'll lose it.
So I don't want to lose it because I spent a lot of money on it. And so I log in at least to just refresh it, which has been a lot easier since I've been working from home, because I'm in front of my gaming computer right now. My work computer I set up over there. I have a laptop that I take with me to and from the office. So when I'm here, I literally can just come over here, sign in, do just move around a little bit, make sure I'm refreshed and everything, turn it off, and then go right back to work. So just on
So
a break or something like that.
even if you have an active subscription, they'll still get rid of your house after 45 days
If
don't
you
log
haven't
in.
logged in, yeah, and that's not like because they're like, screw you, you're not playing our game. It's because houses are very high in demand, and it's very hard to get one. Um, Once they open up like new plots of land, or new areas where they're going to put housing, they go like that. It's over within seconds. I got
So,
one because
oh,
I sat there waiting for them to actually implement the patch, and then so I could sign in and hop on and click the button. But I was actively like waiting for them to do it. Yeah, it goes really quick. So much so that there was for a while a Reddit housing forum where you could go and people would like upcharge and say like, hey, I've got a plot, which normally to buy a plot, 5 million gil or whatever it is, they'll be like, hey, you can get a small plot, I'll sell it to you for 12 million gil. And you're paying double triple the price what you would normally pay just for them to relinquish it over to you. So
that
it's
is interesting. I never
they're
realized that.
trying to deal with that, but yeah, it's frustrating. I'm
So
fine because I have
houses,
one now. So
I guess I assumed that everybody gets a house.
no.
If you want a house, you get a house. It's just when you enter your house, you're not in the game world anymore. You are in your house world, and then you go
11
back.
had that. 11 had that with your Mog house. Everybody got that automatically. This one, you can do that with in rooms. You can just go to an inn and say, I'd like to retire to a room, and then you'll go into an inn, and you're just in that room. You can also buy apartments, which if you belong to a guild that has a guild house, you can buy, I think, an unlimited amount of apartments. So you can have like a one room space for yourself and for any stuff you want to put in there. But having a house that has, I have a small house. There's small, medium, large, and I think guild hall. I just have a small house. It's got an upstairs and a downstairs, and I have it decorated with a whole bunch of stuff. And I love my little spot. It's great. Yeah.
And
So
you can have random people just come into your house whenever
yeah.
they
Oh yeah.
want.
Mhm.
Interesting. I didn't know that's actually really cool.
I leave it unlocked so anybody can just go there and check it out if they want to and whatnot. So yeah.
That is cool. I like that. I could see why you're trying to keep it then. Do you get the decorated and stuff and you make it personalized?
I have my basement has a massive fish tank with a huge fish in it, but then I put a room divider in it, and on the other side is my room with a bed and like a bookshelf and like some little trinkets and everything. But then lining the walls, it's got like anime posters and stuff on the inside. It's pretty sweet. Yeah.
So after 45 days, do they put your house on the market and then you get money for the sale, or is
You
you
don't get
just
anything.
lose it?
No, they
Oh,
just
that's
say
dumb.
like, you don't own this anymore. I
Oh,
think
that's
they
dumb.
like send all of your belongings, any furniture and that kind of stuff you have in there, to like some holding thing. But yeah, you lose everything. So
Oh, that's unfortunate. Learn something new every day. That's enticing. If I had more time, I think I would want to jump in and check that out. It's interesting to me to know that they have actual in-game real estate that you can own. That's
yep.
just cool. It's a cool
Yeah, it's
concept.
great. Neighborhoods and everything.
Well, I mean, to summarize, E3, we're hopefully have like a ton of cool things to talk about on the next episode. Which actually, you want to talk about what we're talking about next time?
I'm going to leave it as a surprise
Okay,
for what we're
all right.
doing. Because I want to make sure it's actually happening first. I've talked to the parties involved
Special guests.
already, and they're down. but we haven't finalized the plans yet. So, and we'll have to figure out a time to record and make sure everybody's available and all this stuff. So I am super excited for it though. If it does go down.
Oh, I am too.
Yeah,
I really hope it
looking
happens.
forward to that.
Yeah. Awesome, Dan.
Oh, show.
Well, that's that. I'm gonna have to end it. I'm gonna try to end it this time. You always do it so well. I'm gonna see if I can do it.
Good.
All right, I'm taking the reins here.
Do you want to plug anything?
Okay. I'm so bad at this. If you want to follow me on Twitter, my name is @Birdazoid. I won't spell that out. I spell it out every time. It's Birdazoid. I'm there. I'm not super active, but you can get a hold of me there. JJ, you can find him on Twitter as well, @JJ Santaniello. Did I say that right?
And that's JJSANTANIELLO. I will spell it.
I have to sound out each little syllable whenever I say your last name. It's
a whopper.
It is. It's a unique name. Find him there. You can also find JJ on his YouTube channel, Game Room Revival. That's probably where you're watching this show. If you're not, you're listening to it on any podcast provider. We're everywhere: iTunes, Spotify, everywhere you listen. If we're not somewhere, let me know on Twitter. I will get it corrected. Anyway, I also have a YouTube channel. There's not much there, but I do post from time to time. It's Birdazoid is the channel name there. But yeah, that's it. JJ, want to take us out?
You literally just said you wanted to close us out.
No, like the saying that you always say at the end of every episode.
Oh, I see. I do. Like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. You know the drill. You've been here. You've been on YouTube. You've seen what everyone does. But, as I always like to say when closing the episode, keep on gaming.